That's the Directors Guild of America. That's where your big directors have their offices. Now you'll also notice next door to it, that little restaurant with all the people in line. The food is good, but that's not why they're in line. They're in line because that little restaurant called The Griddle is a major celebrity hotspot. They'll go in there, they'll have breakfast, they'll mingle with their fans. It's very well known in this area. That's why all those people are waiting. Sunset Car Wash on the right. They filmed segments of the movie Car Wash starring Richard Pryor with this building. The Laugh Factory on the next corner on the right. Many comedians have played here. Tim Allen has a regular show on Thursdays. But we'll put this back on the map recently. You may recall Kramer from Seinfeld a few years ago performing live on stage, had a meltdown. All took place inside the Laugh Factory. Left side, the entire third floor of this building with the smoked glass windows, that is TMZ headquarters. The Hollywood Gossip television show. Come up around this curve on the right, you'll see a big building. It looks like a White Castle. It's called the Chateau Marmont. And this is best known because back in 1981 in room number 6, this is where John Belushi died. Part of the original Saturday Night Live cast, and it's the most requested room in the hotel. He had a drug overdose in there. So the next street we're crossing over up here is called Sweetser. Now tour buses are not allowed to the right on Sweetser because of the weight restrictions, but as I go through the light, if you look to the right, there's an empty parking lot. At the back of this parking lot, you're going to see a bunch of bushes and a black fence. This is all Johnny Depp's property. It's his LA residence. When he's in town making movies, this is where he stays. He also owns an island in France. You're not going to see much, but you'll see behind the bushes there. It's very secluded. This is his little street right here, Sweetser. And right there with those red flowers and the black fences, that's all Johnny Depp's behind there. Standard Hotel on the left. That's formerly owned by Leonardo DiCaprio. Up around the curve, another landmark on the right side. It's called the Comedy Store. It's where late night talk show host comedian Jay Leno launched his career from. I like people to know this about Jay Leno. He's truly one of the nicest, if not the nicest celebrity in Hollywood. Here it comes to the right. We see Jay Leno a lot. And he'll stop and he'll wave and he'll talk to everybody. He's a very, very, very nice man. I'm going to remind you, as we're driving around, I get asked this all the time, do you really see celebrities? Yes, we do. And the key to seeing a celebrity, especially as we start going into Beverly Hills, is you want to look at the cars. Now, it's not going to be unusual for us to see Maseratis and Bentleys, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, Bugattis. So we always want to look to see who's driving them. The easiest way to spot somebody. Weekends, and especially Sunday, is the best day to do it. Now we're going to be driving into a section up here called Sunset Plaza. There's restaurants on both sides of the street, very nice restaurants. Now the locals refer to this little part as Paparazzi Row because these restaurants have outside dining. Celebrities that want to be seen, they tend to dine on the outside of these restaurants. At lunchtime, you can't even get a table here. You have Chin Chin, La Petite, La Petite Four, Cravings, Cafe Med, Il Soleil, all very, very good restaurants. They're just getting ready for the lunch crowd. This little restaurant on the right, the black building here, Il Soleil. Now look at that, it only has fabric for their door. Believe it or not, that's a major celebrity hotspot. They're only open for dinner. You see that one on TMZ a lot. There's a 6-month reservation list for you or I. Celebrities walk right in. Up around the next curve, 2 famous nightclubs. The first one will be on the left. It's called the Viper Room. You can read the marquee: New Year's Eve, Dirt Nasty, Soulfly, Black Building, Black Canopy. This building is formerly owned by Johnny Depp, the Viper Room, and it's also where River Phoenix died. Drug overdose, Halloween 1996. He collapsed right in front of the club. On this corner on the right, one of the biggest landmarks, world famous Whiskey A Go Go nightclub. This is where the Doors were discovered, Motley Crue was discovered, Guns N' Roses, Frank Zappa, Buffalo Springfield. The building has so much rock history to it that they've recently inducted it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. When I drive in front of it, to the left of the canopy, you'll see a bronze plaque on the wall. And that's stating, because of the rock history, they've inducted it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, Venice Beach, which is one of our stops today, is where Jim Morrison used to hang out all the time. He wrote many, many of his songs at Venice Beach. Whiskey A Go Go. To the right, here's the plaque. In front of us, the tall white building with the balconies. It's called Sierra Towers. These are condominiums. That building actually sits at the beginning of Beverly Hills. Now, those units start at $2.3 million on the first floor. Sir Elton John's LA residence. He owns the entire top floor. Now, you're going to see a liquor store coming up on the right, Gil Turner's Liquor Store. It might look familiar to you, this tan building. It was all over the news. This is the liquor store that Halle Berry drove her car through. She got drunk, went right through the front of that. But the best part was the next morning, the owners put a big sign up in the window saying Halle Berry shops here. All right, we're going into Beverly Hills, folks. Get your cameras ready. See that? The sparkles with the Rolls Royce right there to the right. Okay, you're going to hopefully see the famous Beverly Hills signs where all these trees are being trimmed. Let's see if we can see it today. It'll be on the right side on the corner there. It is. Welcome to Beverly Hills. There's a couple different ways we always know when we're in Beverly Hills. Let's see if I can get through here. Yep. All right, you want to get a quick photo there to your left? The first way you know you're in Beverly Hills is you look at the street signs. You'll see they're white, and they always have the Beverly Hills shield on them. First celebrity will be on the left-hand side. Comes from Austria. He's a famous chef, 805. His name is Wolfgang Puck. Right here to your left. Now when I get to the corner, on the right side you'll get a beautiful view of Sierra Towers, Elton John's LA residence, top floor. Some of you are old enough to remember a very successful TV show called Dynasty, starring Joan Collins. She has a residence in there. And more recently, Jane Fonda. She moved in there about 6 months ago. She started dating a gentleman from LA, so she took up an LA residence in Sierra Towers. So again, you'll notice the street signs, they're always white. You see here on the right, the Beverly Hills Shield. Ron Doheny, Mr. Doheny made his fortune in oil. His son was engaged to be married. He bought a piece of property here, built him a beautiful mansion called Greystone Manor. Now we're going to drive in front of Greystone. The city of Beverly Hills owns the estate now, and they lease the mansion out for private parties, $25,000 a night. It's booked. Look at the rolls on the left, guys. Rolls Royce pulling out.
Oh yeah.
They lease the estate out for $25,000 a night for private parties. It's booked almost every weekend for weddings. President Obama had a huge fundraiser in the mansion. He raised $9 million in one night. when Barbara Streisand entertained all of his guests. Here on the right are the gates going into Greystone. We'll let these cars go past us. I want you to look over the wall up on top of the hill. You'll see the mansion. It may look familiar to you. It was used as Wayne Manor in the movie Batman. Next one will be up around the curve on the right-hand side. They had a reality show for 3 years out of this house on MTV. Coming up, Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne. And it begins right here to your right. Now, the Osbournes recently sold the house. The new owner, and she currently lives here, this is now Christina Aguilera's house. So did anybody ever watch the Osbournes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the episode when Sharon threw the hammer over the fence at those are the neighbors right there? The next one will be on the left. It's 2 houses up from the corner here. The address is 612. And it has a black wrought iron fence, and it's a beautiful home. And it's the home to one of America's favorite female comedians. Her name is Carol Burnett. She also owns a home in Maui. Here it is to your left with the black fence. She had her own show on CBS for 13 years. It's a beautiful home. For the youngsters, if you're not sure who she is, if you saw the movie Annie, she played the mean old lady that ran the orphanage, Mrs. Hannigan. See something here? Looks like... Nope, we don't. I thought we had paparazzi here. There's too many cars in here right now. That's usually paparazzi. I don't see anybody in them. The next one, we can't see it anymore because they built this house here. But up behind here is Tom Cruise's house, Tom and Katie, way in the back there. Unfortunately, this new build has blocked that view. Next one will be on the right. Gray security wall, black gate. Lived in the house, died in the house. Old Blue Eyes. Frank Sinatra to your right. And this is still in the family, the Sinatra family. Some of you may recall hearing about Lindsay Lohan. She had a couple car accidents in Beverly Hills. This intersection was the scene of her second accident. Lindsay ran her car into the bushes here on the right. She actually lodged her car between this palm tree and that palm tree right there. Her mom was on the news not too long ago. They were interviewing her mom about her daughter, and she said, well, when my daughter gets through all of this probationary stuff and everything she's doing, she's going to move to New York. And I was thinking, well, there's no drugs in New York. Okay, that'll work. The next one will be on the left. It's my personal favorite. It's a beautiful yellow Tuscan style home, and it belongs to Dr. Phil. Right here to the left. Jim and his wife Robin is a very, very nice people. We see them a lot. They always wave to us. 16.5 million. Now the other way, you always know you're in Beverly Hills. If you haven't noticed this, I'll point it out. Each street has its own set of trees. You'll never find a street with two different trees on it. Will Rogers, he was a great American. He was very instrumental in laying out the landscaping here. So he was the one who came up with that idea. Now the next house I'm going to show you is in the next block, up on the next corner on the right. But there's a story behind this guy. I'm going to talk about him now. His name is Marciano, George Marciano. And he founded Guess clothing line, Guess jeans. Now Mr. Marciano for years has had 14 Ferraris lined up across the front of his house. 7 red, 7 yellow. He had 3 Rolls Royces. Last year we're giving the tour. It was always a highlight on the tour. We're talking about the Rolls Royces and the Ferraris. I'm going to let these cars pass. I came up around the curve and they were gone. So all the tour guides were talking, what's up with that, what's up with that. The second day we're giving the tour, and he replaced the cars with a statue of Abe Lincoln and a statue of Thomas Jefferson. Now the property for him begins right here to the right where the wall is. So all the tour guides were talking, what's up with the statues? The third day he announced, he called the news conference and he announced that he was running for governor in the great state of California. So it was all perception. He got rid of the Ferraris, got rid of the Rolls Royces, put the presidents in the front yard. He ended up bowing out of the race. But here it is coming up on the right, Marciano, founder of Guess. I'll show you a beautiful mansion up around the curve here. It'll be on the left. That was used in the movie Get Shorty, starring Danny DeVito and John Travolta. In the movie, it was the home Danny DeVito owned. If you ever watch the movie again, you'll see there's a great scene with Travolta and DeVito walking out the front doors. Here it is coming up on your left. Now if I time this right, I want you to look through the front doors. This is the only time of day we'll see this. You're going to see the sun hitting the prisms of the chandeliers.
Oh. That's pretty.
Yeah, it goes all the way back.
People get closer.
Okay, next we're going to go down a great street. It's called Roxbury. It's old Hollywood. And it's the street throughout the years that years ago everybody wanted to live on it. It's really amazing how many celebrities lived on one street. It's directly in front of us. Now as we cross over this corner house on the left, we'll get a good view in a minute. 1014. When they were married and living together, this one belonged to Sonny and Cher. You'll see it in a second. Okay, left side, 1014, Sonny and Cher. across the street on the right, these two tan homes were two brothers, George and Ira Gershwin, music writer, composers. Now the Gershwin brothers were very, very close. They shared real estate. They have a star together on the Walk of Fame. Then next door to the Gershwin, this little gray one on the right, 1021, was formerly Agnes Moorehead. She played a lot of roles, but what was she best remembered as? Endura and Bewitched. Any fans of CSI Miami on board? Most people don't know this, but that show is filmed here in LA. Now this mansion on the right, you're going to see this one in an upcoming episode. They were here last month. They took over this mansion for an entire week. We would drive by and see the whole cast and crew out here. Staying on the right side, coming up, Eva Madonna had a house on this street. She owned it for 7 years, sold it 3 years ago, and it begins right here to the right. This mansion across the street, nobody famous, but they've been building this for 3 years. This family just moved into this estate 3 days ago. He's a plastic surgeon, and they're going to be spending their first Christmas there. That landscaping is 2 weeks old. Now next door, this tan one on the left, it's kind of sad because he passed away about 4 months ago. This is America's favorite detective, Lieutenant Columbo. Peter Falk, yep. And he was a great man. We would see him, he has 2 little pugs, and he would walk them out here in the morning. He would always wave to us. And then next door to Columbo, the brick one on the left here, he was known as the cheapest man in show business. Who was it?
Jack Benny.
Jack Benny, very good. Great stand-up comedian. He wasn't cheap at all. He was actually very generous with his money. And then Jack Benny's neighbor on the corner here on the left with all the roses, America's favorite redhead, Lucille Ball. Left side. So we always want to see who's walking out. Who's this on the left with the dog? Is that Paris? That's not Paris. They look different without their makeup, you know? Paris is pretty easy to spot. She drives around in a hot pink Bentley, and she recently purchased a brand new red Ferrari. Coming up on the right, this belonged to the one and the only right-hand side, Miss Marilyn Monroe.
Is that where she died?
No, she didn't die here. She lived here when she was married to Joe DiMaggio. Okay, we're going to head over to Rodeo. We'll hit Rodeo. We're going to do a 10-minute break before we get to Rodeo. It's a little restroom stop. And also, in the park, there's a really nice Beverly Hills sign for photos. Then we'll go down Rodeo Drive, and then we're going to head into Bel Air. And from Bel Air, we'll head out to Santa Monica. I'm going to show you a beautiful hotel. It'll be coming up on the left side. The locals refer to her as the Pink Lady. The world knows her as the Beverly Hills Hotel. It's 99 years old. It's had hundreds of celebrities staying in it through the years. Elton John had a birthday party in the hotel. Howard Hughes lived in it for 4 years. 6 weeks ago from yesterday, Gene Simmons from the band Kiss was married at this hotel. Coming up on the left, The Pink Lady, the Beverly Hills Hotel. And this is the Will Rogers Memorial Park to your left. This intersection, I like pointing it out because there's not many left in the country. You notice it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way stop.
Oh.
Yeah. The secret is you stop, you pray, you go. Now, remember the Beverly Hillbillies? The opening scene when they're arriving in Beverly Hills was all filmed on this street in front of us. Granny sitting in the back of the truck, Jethro driving. As far as real estate value in this area goes, this is a desired part of Beverly Hills because it's what's considered the flatlands. Very easy to determine the real estate value. We're in the 700 block. These homes start at $7 million. 600 block, $6 million. And that's all because it's Beverly Hills. Very architecturally diverse throughout these neighborhoods. Now this corner house on the right, with the blue tarps on it, sold about 9 weeks ago for $5.2 million. Look what they did. They completely gutted the building. Okay, on the right here is a little park. You'll see the famous Beverly Hills sign. There you go. I'm going to pull over up here. If you need the restrooms, directly in front of us, that little tan building. So photos on the right, restrooms on the left. If you're using the restrooms, please use the crosswalk in front of us. A little 10-minute stop, okay?